It's about time we address one of our most requested drummers for this series, Neil Peart's drum sound with Rush. The late Neil Peart, drummer for the Canadian progressive rock band Rush, was one of the most famed and highly regarded drummers ever. Considered by many as one of the world's best drummers, Neil was highly influential in drumming until his death in early 2020 and continues to inspire thousands of drummers until today. He joined Rush as a drummer and lyricist in 1974 and underwent a whole evolution of drum setups and sounds in his 41-year career. His absolutely huge drum sets with almost countless toms and tons of cymbals and effects have created new standards for incorporating electronics, percussion, and even tuned percussion into a drum set. Couple that with Neil's signature drum fills and intelligent groove design, and it makes him truly one of a kind. Rush's biggest hit, Tom Sawyer, is a great example of this drumming style and sound. Take a listen.
Monday warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
Not only is his drumming impressive, but the clarity and production quality of the song and the entire album Moving Pictures also really pushed the boundaries of how clean drums could sound when it was released in 1981. Everything sounds crystal clear yet warm and works very well in the mix. When planning to recreate this sound, we decided to go for a setup which would look similar to what he did live in his last years of playing while making it sound like the records from back in the day. Neil was a long-time DW endorser, so we chose a DW collector's kit with all maple shells and toms in all standard sizes for our recreation. The ones we used are 8x7, 10x8, 12x8, 13x9, 14x10, 14x12, 16x16, and 18x16 inches. We fitted clear remote-controlled sound drumheads for an open sound with lots of attack and clarity, as well as improved durability over a regular single-ply drumhead. It's also what Neil himself used in the 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, we didn't receive the 8-inch tom head in time, so we just cut out a black dot from a piece of gaffer tape and placed it in the center of a clear ambassador head. Now it looked right and even sounded surprisingly good too. As far as tuning goes, Pascal had prepared recordings of the original pitches for each tom and matched the tuning exactly.
One eternity later.
In order to make the toms sound like concert toms but retain the look of regular double-headed toms, we cut out some old reso heads with just enough material left around the edges to where we could mount the bottom hoop but have the drums open on the bottom. The lack of full bottom head lowers the pitch of the drums, while the high tension on the batter heads makes sure the overall pitch stays relatively high. This creates a very cutting sound. For muffling, Pascal placed some pieces of tape on the drum heads to slightly reduce overtones but keep the drums open and bright sounding. Here are the toms in the mix. For the bass drum, we chose a 22x18 inch collector series drum and put on a clear CS batter as well as a black DW reso head. The tuning is medium-low for a nice blend of attack and low end. Pascal also added a porthole to the front head in the same top position that you can see in some old live photos. For muffling, we left the two DW pillows in the drum that it came with. It sounds like this. The snare we used is a 14 by 6.5 inch maple drum from the same series by DW. Just like with the toms, we fitted a clear Remo CS batter head and tuned both heads medium-high. This makes the drum very articulate. For muffling, Pascal rolled up 2 pieces of tape and stuck them to the batter head. This reduces overtones but doesn't affect the body and length of the drum. It sounds like this. Neil famously used Zildjian Paragon cymbals, which sound bright and clear. We tried to recreate his sound using Zildjian cymbals. We compared a few hi-hats and opted for a combination of a 14-inch A-series quick beat bottom and an A new beat bottom cymbal on the top. This relatively heavy hi-hat produces a very crisp sound which comes close to what can be heard on Tom Sawyer. The cymbals from left to right are a 20-inch A-thin crash, a 17-inch A-thin crash, a 16-inch A medium-thin crash, a 21-inch A sweet ride, a 19-inch A medium-thin crash, a 19-inch A custom ultra hammered china, and a 22-inch A swish knocker just for the looks. The stack above the ride cymbal is a combination of a 12-inch FX stack with 10 and 12-inch FX spiral stackers and a 14-inch LP tombo ring. It was only used for Fly By Night, which we recreate later in this video, so stick around. In his last years, Neil set up a large acoustic drum set around himself and had electronic drums on behind himself, which he would turn to and play for certain songs of Rush's live shows. So we set up a Geva G3 electronic drum set behind Pascal as well to make it look just right. To mic up the kit, we used small diaphragm clip condensers on the toms, which makes them sound bright and clear. For the 8 and 10-inch ones, we used biodynamic TGD 58s, which are shorter, and TGD 57s for the rest of the toms. We fitted the 18-inch one with a TGI 51 simply because we ran out of condenser mics. For the bass drum, we used an M88 just inside the porthole for a clear attack. The snare has an MC930 on the top for a bit more brightness and attack over an M201, which is what we used on the bottom. To support the hi-hat and ride, we added more MC930s and an MC950 for the stack. The cymbals are captured with M90 Pro X's in an AB configuration, and we finished everything off with an M201 in the room. Before we get to the result, we at Art of Drumming would like to mention that if you want to help us sustain our work, there's a donation link in the video description below. Our platform, ArtOfDrumming.com, is free, and we want to keep providing that for you. That's why every small donation matters all the more to us. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's find out if Pascal was dragging or rushing. And check out his version of Tom Sawyer. We mentioned earlier that Rush's sound has changed slightly over the years, so let's look at an earlier example of them and the drum sound. Here's Fly By Night from 1975. This was actually the first Rush album with Neil Peart, who had replaced John Rutsey on drums 1 year before. Nonetheless, his distinct style was already apparent. To get close to this sound, Pascal detuned the snare a bit from where it was before. It now sounded like this. And here's Pascal's version of Fly By Night. How did you like our recreation? Tell us in the comments. Also, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. We have a lot more coming. Additionally, hit the like button if you liked this video and tell us if and why you didn't. It's a big help to us. See you next time.